everyone. Welcome to Songwriter Spotlight. We're coming to you from Brownsville, Tennessee in the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center, home of bluesman Sleepy John Estes, Tina Turner, and the West Tennessee Music Museum. I'm Sonia. Tonight we have with us Ted Horrell, who is a Memphis musician, and he is joining us this evening to talk more about his songs, the stories and the inspiration behind them. He is also a recent participant in the Memphis Songwriters Association's songwriting competition, and we'll hear more about that. Ted, thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you back in Brownsville. It's been a few years. And congratulations on your recent win.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a real honor to have been runner-up of the Memphis Songwriter Association Songwriter of the Year competition. It was a lot of fun.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you start playing music?
So, I guess I started playing music maybe when I was 6 or 7. My folks got me into cello lessons, which I think was really helpful for me. I only did it for a few years, but I think it kind of helped get my ear trained. But that's not the music I was into. And as I got older and kind of got into rock and roll and started listening to classic rock, mainly a lot of stuff my parents were listening to, I asked could I switch to guitar lessons, and they said I could, and I started taking guitar when I was in about the 5th grade, I guess. At some point, of course, started playing guitar, and some kid on the bus said, "Hey, I heard you play guitar. You want to play in a band?" And I said, "Man, that'd be great." And he said, "Well, can you play?" He said, "Can you play Perfect Girl by The Cure?" And I'd never heard it, and I was like, "Probably." So I went home and I found somebody that had a tape and learned how to play it. I've really just been playing in bands since then. That was about the 9th grade that I started playing in bands. Played through college. Started writing songs in college, and just fell in love with it. And I've been songwriting for I guess 25, 30 years now.
Well, how about starting us off with a song then?
Okay, I will. This is a song that's on our playing a band, Ted Horrell and the Monday Night Card, and this is a song from our last record, Not One or the Other. And I was I was at home for a vacation or something. I was trying to write a song every day during that time period, just as an exercise. And this is one of the ones that came out of it. And really, it's I was just kind of doing some stream of consciousness and strung it together. And it was really kind of a song about how I wasn't doing a very good job writing a song, but I like it. So I play it and we put it on our album. This one's called Wasn't Meant to Be. There's a house down on the corner that I'd always wished to see, overgrown with windows boarded. What hidden treasures could there be? Never had the nerve to visit. Fear outweighed curiosity. I watched him knock it down last Tuesday. I guess it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. There's a billboard at the bypass from an election 7 years ago. I guess somebody got a bargain. Wonder if he even knows he was not declared the winner. He sank back to obscurity. Sometimes I drive by after dinner. No, it wasn't meant to be. words up on the screen. There's a logic, I can't grasp it. Not sure what they even mean. Some inspiration is infernal, and other times it's heavenly. Sometimes it's not one or the other. Sometimes it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. No, it wasn't meant to be.
Well, that was great. I guess that's what you call a happy accident.
It was a happy accident. I was just like, I'm gonna write a song this morning. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna finish it, and we'll see what happens. And I wound up kind of liking it. So it's fun.
You said you were making yourself write a song a day. So how does that work? What has to happen for you to be inspired to write a song a day?
Well, that's not my usual style of writing. Most of the time something comes to me, I'll record it on my phone, I'll play with it over the course of, sometimes weeks, sometimes I've had years where I play with it before I can really figure out what the song's about. And during that period, we were thinking about doing some recording with the band, and I thought, I'm just gonna try to write a song every day, and maybe one or two of them will wind up being something. Most of them weren't. That was one of them that came out of it. But in that case, I was just kind of, you just start messing around with the guitar, just pick up the instrument and make yourself do it, and just play through some things. And sometimes it starts with humming or sounds that come out of something. And in fact, the other day I was trying to write, and I had this thought, and it went like, I was just going hoo-de-do. I didn't have any, it was just ho-de-do. And I sat and messed with it. I tried to thought, well, that could be hold the door, or that could be hold it up, or something. And I wound up turning it into a song called Hold the Rope, which kind of wound up being a song about togetherness and working together, and kind of, not letting go of something that you're trying to do as a group. And then, so once I had that was the phrase, then that kind of drove the lyrics. Although some of the lyrics I had just written down, and some of them wound up not making sense with that song, so I'd scrap them. And usually it's just kind of write, and then edit.
Well, it also sounds like melody sometimes comes to you first, and then you deal with the words second.
Definitely, and I'd say typically that's the idea. And sometimes it's a phrase, and I'll try to just sing the phrase until I come up with something. But a lot of times it's the other way around, like you said. It may just be sounds. Just be sounds of music.
Is there a particular pattern or theme that you recognize in your music?
I have found that a lot of my songs have to do with memory and changing perspectives sometimes on events. Not all of them, certainly, but I find that memory, regret, sometimes guilt, is just kind of, but also more hopeful ways to think about memory and the way that it enriches our lives and the experiences that we've had. And I've got some in that category that I'll probably play today. As far as themes go, and then the challenge becomes those are all. It's hard to write thoughts, so how do you make that a concrete thing that other people might relate to and relate to their own lives, rather than it just being about, well, here's this experience that I had. So try to generalize it.
Is Miss Dolores one of those songs?
Miss Dolores is not, actually. So Miss Dolores is more of a this is one where I started kind of with the chorus and didn't know what it was about. And the chorus is, how do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores? And that was when I was just singing and playing. But all right, Miss Dolores. So why would he address her as Miss Dolores? Is this a younger man, older woman situation? What is it? And what this wound up being a song is about, when I introduce it, I usually say it's about fast times at the retirement home. This one's is really just a story, and it's but the song itself is not really that jokey. The intro is kind of jokey, but it's about two older people living close to each other in the retirement home, and the possibility of love there. So this one's called Ms. Dolores.
How do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores? Love me, Miss Dolores. Love me, Miss Dolores. How do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores? I remember way back in high school, you had your man and I had a woman too. But now they're gone and our time is winding down. We can carry on without carrying old loves around. How do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores? Love me, Miss Dolores. Love me, Miss Dolores. How do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores? It seems so obvious you're right upstairs, and all I do most days is sit around and stare. You're past your prime, and my time is past. Let's try to make the short time we've got left last. How do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores? Love me, Miss Dolores. Love me, Miss Dolores. How do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores? We're headed towards 3/4 round that track. So let's move forward, babe. I'm tired of looking back. Forget what our kids think or what the manager will say. We've got a few years left and we can start today. We can start today. We can start today. We can start today. Somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores. Love me, Miss Dolores. Love me, Miss Dolores. How do I get somebody like you to love me, Miss Dolores?
Well, let's talk about your musical influences. Who are your musical heroes?
Well, a lot of it started with Neil Young. Love Neil Young. When I was learning guitar and actually even in my singing, I wish I could sing as well as he does, but John Fogerty and Creedence Clearwater Revival are big time influences. Bob Dylan. But also REM was who I was into when I started learning guitar. So in fact, my guitar teacher said, "What do you want to learn?" I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Well, one of my other students gave me this tape with this band called REM. I didn't know who they were, and it had an album on each side of the cassette tape, and I took it home, and just that kind of became, one of my favorite bands ever. So REM, the Jayhawks these days, still folks I listen to now, Vampire Weekend and Spoon, and just kind of keep it updated. And then I grew up listening to a lot of Motown and Stax music, and still listen to those things to this day. So those are probably more subtle, but even a song like Ms. Dolores has some soul influence in there a little bit. But those are the bands that kind of the touchstones. Bruce Springsteen's a big one. Love Bruce Springsteen.
You also mentioned earlier about your albums. How many albums do you have?
So I've played in 3 bands. I made an album in 1999 with a band in Kansas City called Resident Clark, and that was the first album that I recorded. It was all original songs, all my songs. Made 3 albums with a band called the Central Standards from 2001 to about 2007. And for the last 8 or so years, I've been playing really under my own name with a band called Ted Horrell and the Monday Night Card. And all that stuff's at www.tedhorrellmusic.com. songwriters.com. We're on Facebook and the usual places. But we've made, I guess that was our fourth collection of original music that we've put together. That one just came out last September, so it's just about a year old. But it's a band that started as a 5-piece band. Well, it started as a 3-piece band, and now sometimes when we play, we've got 7 or 8 people, and it's just kind of the more the merrier. But they're a really, really fun group to play with. They can play just about anything I can think of.
I know that you've recorded some at Farmhouse Studios. Are all of your albums recorded there?
Actually, the ones under my name, they have all, the first 3 were all start to finish at Farmhouse. Over the pandemic, I put together a little 3-song EP and recorded it at home. And then Brian Hayes at Farmhouse mixed it for me. And then this last record that we did, we recorded the basic tracks for 5 of the songs at Farmhouse, and then I did the rest of it at home. I've kind of learned a little bit about how to do some of that stuff, and then Brian mixed those 5. And then the last 4 I did completely at home, and then had Jacob Church, another local musician, mix those for me. So just kind of mixing it up. But Brian Hayes and Farmhouse have been a huge part of our sound and production, for sure.
I mentioned that because he's a Brownsville
I know he
fella,
is, yeah.
so.
Yeah, he's very, very proud Brownsville guy, yeah.
The Monday Night Cards. So what's the story behind that band name?
Well, there is, and what I've learned is there aren't a lot of band names left. Anything and a name, whatever word, no matter how ridiculous, there's probably some band somewhere with that name. So I started thinking, I need to just think of something local, like in Memphis, that have less competition. And that is actually a reference to Monday Night Wrestling down at the Mid-South Coliseum that my friends and family and I went to growing up. We'd watch wrestling on Saturday mornings, and then if we were lucky, head on down to the Mid-South Coliseum to see who was on the Monday night card that night. So it's an obscure, I guess, for most people, wrestling reference.
Well, I know your day job is superintendent of schools in the Lakeland school system. Do your students know that you're also a musician?
They tend to find out. I'm certainly not shy about playing with the students at the elementary school. They've got a guitar club, and they're nice enough to invite me every year to play a song with them. I've been invited to do a songwriting workshop for the creative writing classes at the middle school. So they kind of, it trickles out here and there. I play for the teachers every year for in-service. So it's just kind of a fun way to connect with folks.
Well, tell me more about this creative activities with the students. Have they helped you write a song?
The creative writing teacher asked me to come and do basically a workshop on how I write songs. So a lot of the same things that we're talking about. And I took in fact, it happens to be the next song I'm about to play. And it took that song and where it started and how it got to be the song that it became, and kind of the editing process and trying to take abstract thoughts and make them concrete and relatable. So
the students had input on the song that you're fixing
no,
to do?
No, actually, this was when I was going back. I had some of my phone recordings of how it was when I started, when it was just humming things into the phone. I was trying to encourage them to do their own writing and their own songwriting, and basically say, this is what it looks like when I do it, and you can do it too. So this one's called The Olive Wood, and this is a song about past relationships and just kind of the interesting phenomenon that I think a lot of us have experienced, where you can be just intensely close to somebody, whether that be a friend or a significant other, and then something happens, whatever that is. It could be a move, it could be a breakup, it could be any number of things, and you may never talk to that person again. The people in your life, and you go through a period of life and you're almost side by side, and then you just don't anymore. And I was thinking through, when I kind of developed the song, what if there was a place where it wasn't awkward to catch up with that person and share maybe what they meant to you in your life. In most cases, it would be very awkward just to call an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, or even just an old friend from middle school and say, hey, I appreciate who you were and what we went through. But there's really not. And so this is a place that kind of made up called The Olive Wood. Been staring at cracks in the ceiling,
Been rubbing a bruise that needs healing. Thinking of when we said goodbye for good. Wish that I could see you again neath the olive wood. So long I can hardly remember why our friendship cooled to an ember. So many miles between here and where we stood. Still I'd like to take the road back to the olive wood. And I wish you peace. It seems so strange you were so close to me. And I wish you peace. Maybe that's the way it was supposed to be. Many suns have set on our grievance, but we both changed from the experience. I'm sure in a way we were both misunderstood, but I bet we could sort it all out at the olive wood. And I wish you peace. I want you to hear what I would say to you. And I wish you peace. I want you to feel that I'm praying for you. Some things you've just got to get through. Some folks are worse having known you. Thinking of when we said goodbye for good. Still I'd like to see you again at the olive wood. And I wish you peace. Wish you could hear what I would say to you. And I wish you peace. I want you to feel that I'm praying for you. Been staring at cracks in the ceiling. Been rubbing a bruise that needs healing.
Let's talk about being involved in the Memphis Songwriters Association's competition.
So I think, and I need to check this too, I think that was the fourth time I had entered songs into it, and I had not made the finals prior to that. So I was very excited and proud and happy to have made the finals. And they brought us all down to the 8 of us, brought us down to the Halloran Center, and we got to perform our songs for the audience and the judges, and had the honor of being named runner-up. So it was fun.
Well, the song that you played that night, tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so that song's interesting. The ones I had turned in the previous years, I felt like were more earnest and maybe thoughtful, and they obviously weren't getting the attention of the judges, I guess. So the one that I turned in this year was Spelled Your Name Wrong on Your Valentine, which is a song I had started, no joke, I started writing that song in 1997. I came up with the line, I spelled your name wrong on your Valentine, and then kind of the punchline. But I didn't really have a whole lot else to it, and I'd kind of pick it up every few years and try to finish it, and I thought that's not really a song yet. That's more of a joke. It's not a real song. And then about 2 years ago, something broke free, I guess, and I kind of finished it up, and I decided what the song was about. So we recorded it with the band. It's also on our most recent album, along with Ms. Dolores and Wasn't Meant to Be.
Well, I haven't heard this song yet, so I obviously want to know, did you really write someone's name wrong on their Valentine?
No, but I was always not always, but there was a period when I started the song where I was afraid I was going to. I was dating somebody and their name had a vowel in there that could have gone either way, and every time I wrote it, I'd kind of check myself, and I thought, well, how ironic and funny would that be if it was on the Valentine, and then as the song goes, it winds up being not just a Valentine. It was kind of a botched proposal, as it were. So it took me a long time to get to the botched proposal part, to the extent that even reads.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
All right, let's do it.
So I spelled your name wrong on your Valentine. Do you have to remind me every day? You say you must have had another on your mind. But need I remind you of the wonderful way I take your hand at night, and in the morning and at noon? So I spelled your name wrong on your Valentine. Can we forget about it now that it's June? Well, your parents didn't spell your name the way it sounds. Hey, I wasn't around. Aren't they partly to blame? You say you feel like you don't even know me now. Need I remind you of the wonderful way I hold you in my arms as soon as you walk in the room? So I spelled your name wrong on your Valentine. Can we forget about it now that it's June? You didn't take it well, I could not foretell my mistake would spell for me. Oh, so I spelled your name wrong on your Valentine. Does it have to define everything that I say? You didn't even read the other lines. I asked you to be mine till the end of our days. It's hard to read a card when it's flying across the room. So I spelled your name wrong on your Valentine. Can we forget about it now that it's June? Do you have to remind me? Do you have to remind me like you do? You're making me nervous 'cause your birthday's coming soon.
Well, that is kind of a fun song. Is there somewhere that you play regularly that people can come and hear you live?
We kind of play here, there, and everywhere. We've got a couple of things coming up at Hernando's Hideaway. The next thing we have booked is actually not till July 30th. We're at Hernando's Hideaway, and we'll be playing with Wiley Bigger, who I know you've hosted here, and Jason Middlecoff, who's with a band called Short in the Sleeve. So we're going to do a night with the full band, the Monday night card, and then those two as openers. We tend to play at Crosstown Brewing every couple months. We'll play. We'll be playing at the Germantown Festival. We're booked to play there, so it kind of just depends. South Main Sounds for Songwriter nights is a great place. I'll be there every once in a while, but we mix it up quite a bit. If we can play out every month or 6 weeks, we're thrilled.
So I know you mentioned your website. Is there a social media site or somewhere people can follow you on?
Yes, on Facebook, Ted Horrell Music. On Instagram, Ted Horrell Music. I don't do much on Twitter, but there's a Ted Horrell Music Twitter account. But mainly Facebook and Instagram. We'll post a lot of clips and things. And then our music, all of the music I've made is on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, including the most recent album. So we'd love for somebody that's interested to check it out. Every song I've played today's on there somewhere.
Tell me the name of that album again.
The album is called Not One or the Other. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. I hope that you've enjoyed Ted as much as I've enjoyed hearing more of his music and his stories. Please plan to join us again in 2 weeks when we will spotlight another West Tennessee singer-songwriter. Ted, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's fun to hear those stories and the inspiration behind your music and the process that you go through to create it. So tell me the story of the song that you're going to play us out on.
Okay, this one is really more literal. Some of them are made up. This one's pretty close to true. This was about a trip that my wife and I took, and we had booked this cabin in Arkansas, and she'd found it. And as we usually do when we're traveling, we got on the road a lot later than we meant to, and this was before we had kids or anything. So we set out and just had a great time driving, and we were laughing, and listening to music and talking and telling stories. And neither one of us are great with directions. And at some point I looked up and there was a sign that said, "Welcome to Missouri." And I said, "We're not supposed to see that, are we?" And she said, "No, we're not." So we kind of got our act together. I mean, it wound up being about an hour and a half out of the way. But this is a song called "When We Were Drifting," and just about how, what a pleasure that can be sometimes when you're lost and not worried about it. So, thank you.